Hi, my name is Nick, and this is another demonstration for Z-Opticals. So we have this full CG shot, which is kind of a distribution of elements in space. It's kind of I don't know, you can picture this as an alien invasion, a sci-fi movie or whatever, with these creatures in space and a flyer saucer, reflective elements and so on. So let's actually disable the 3D bokeh tab for now, and let's focus on sampling three-dimensional aberration. So here we have our current state of the aberration map, and let's place the focal point in the center of this subject here. And so now our aberration is going to be where we are, the frontier between the foreground and background is going to be at the focus point. And now I want to just turn off this for a second, and I want to sample the fields from a real lens. So I have a real onset data capture here, and in this case I'm going to sample the extremes first. So here we have the foreground aberration, and I'm going to sample these hues, so maybe this one in here and another one very close to the focus point or focus plane. The same on the background field. We are going to sample this hue over here, maybe then this one, and the furthest one could be those over here. So now we have sampled our onset data capture, and let's go back to Z-Opticals and let's preview this map. So what I want to do now is the usual thing. I want to spread these components of the foreground and background field, and let's begin to open the space and spread the fields, the aberration fields, until they occupy kind of all the space that I want to aberrate. So there we have the fly saucer, those creatures in the background. Maybe I want to bring them closer, and then for the foreground field, the furthest color is this green, which is this one over here. And actually what you can see right now is something that sometimes you could be distracted, and as you can see I have reversed the fields. So these are the foreground, and actually these greens should be the background ones. So this is a good case to reverse the fields. So that's what I'm going to do now. So this is the center roughly, so let's do a -0.9, so I'm sure with -0.9 and 0.9 I am at the center right now. And these the colors closer to the focus plane or color neutral area of the circle of confusion, those you can desaturate a little bit more, because usually those regions don't exhibit too much chromatic aberration. So that's it. And now, as I was saying, you can just mix things while you're working, and you accidentally reversed the fields, so you can just push this button, and now the fields have aligned correctly, the same way as the real lens is. So let's now continue to expand these fields a little bit more until we occupy the entire space, something like that. So we should add a 2 over here. Maybe I want to push in the foreground a little bit more closer, but I think I think that's what I want. So now our aberration field setup is ready, and let's now apply some chromatic aberration based on this three-dimensional map. So here we have, for example, this creature over here, and we can begin to apply some chromatic aberration. A low value is usually enough. You can boost the aberration. I'm gonna leave that on so it's more noticeable. And as you can see, we have some color fringing in there. Let's check other areas, and it's not quite noticeable, and we're gonna have to play with the values now. I'm gonna show you that in a second. But yeah, you can see some aberration, some three-dimensional aberration happening. What about the foreground field? And yeah, there it is. So let's now increase all the aberration fields. So roughly, let's see the values. They should look between 1 and 2 to be able to show up. So for now, let's give, for example, a 1.5. Sorry, not in saturation. That's not what I want to do at all. So let's say, yeah, we have, let's start with this one. So we have 1.2 here, 1.1. Let's give a 1.2 to this one, maybe a 1.5 here, and did I did it in the, yeah, made a mistake again here. The value, that's it, and the value in here. So let's see if this is enough for the aberration to pop up, and it is. We can see some aberration going on, and we're gonna have to judge this with the defocus too and see, because as you can see, for example, this one is too high, and that one we are probably talking about maybe this one, or maybe it is already the background one. No, it's not that one. What about this one? So this one doesn't want to show. So that is a bit too high in there, but I can't seem to identify. Is about the, yeah, it was about, I made a mistake again, and I played with the saturation. So yes, okay, it's true that if you saturate the aberration more, you're also gonna perceive it more. So I guess depending on the type of shot, this is very high contrast. It has a lot of highlights, so you kind of want to be very subtle. What about this area? What color do we have in here? So we have this green, which is probably the first hue in the background aberration. So let's work on that, and if you saturate that more, you can see it coming through. So let's go a bit higher there in saturation. And yeah, so we roughly have, maybe I want to saturate this one a little bit more, and maybe something like that. And that's it. So the aberration is now being applied. It's very subtle, but it's gonna be more noticeable once we apply defocus to the shot. Here we have a tint frame, which just tints the entire frame with the aberration. I usually give this a very low value, like so. So if you go super high in the viewer, you're going to see the effect of the aberration treatment that we have done. And I'm just showing you. So it's very cool. We have a three-dimensional aberration just like in real optics, applied to our full CG shot. So let's continue playing with these settings. This is a demonstration, so we can go crazy on this. What about some spherical aberration? And let's go very high value because I want to see how much I'm pushing in. So with the highlight limiter, I want to compensate for the loss of value. So now that I have done that, I can go a very low value and begin to really give some hint of spherical aberration there. And let's put all in. So let's add some sagittal aberration here, and let's go to sagittal amount, and you can see the sagittal picking up. So with the f-top, I push it out a little bit. We're gonna give this some feathering, and now I can lower the sagittal amount and give this a very subtle amount in there, like so. That's cool. Maybe that's even a little bit too high. And what about some vignette? So as you can see, I don't know if you're going to apply all these settings, right? But just for demonstration, have fun doing this shot, let's add everything. So let's see the preview map. So maybe I want to do some color cast with this kind of violet and yeah, maybe that green on the top for our aberration. So maybe we can just sample those instead of inventing a color. So we're going to do something like that, and then we can just go high in value, less saturation, and the same in here, just normal value there, just very subtle amount of color cast. And now let's do some bloom. So this is really gonna pick up in the shot. It's gonna be quite a lot. So this is the size of the scatter, and let's now go low in value, so maybe that's a little bit too big in size. Maybe I want to do more horizontally bigger and less value. Yeah, there it is. So what about now we focus a little bit on bokeh, and we were focusing on the center character here, and let's enable the 3D bokeh tab. We are working stereo field, and this is the normal. Let's use bladed here and bladed for the background too, but I'm gonna change this one. Sorry, in the background I'm gonna change this one a little bit, so I'm gonna set up probably catadioptric. Did I pronounce that well? Catadioptric. So that's it, and let's round this one. There's the roundness. So yeah, let's say I spent 10 minutes doing that, and now let's enable this, and there it is, our cathode dioptric bokeh for the background field. And let's increase the size for both fields. It's gonna be a little bit computationally expensive, but I can afford it. Actually, I can't, because my GPU is not very powerful. But there it is, very shallow depth of field. And let's break up this harsh line by giving some amount to the soften focal point and the depth of field. And now the center of our character is a little bit more visible. Maybe this is too shallow, but you get, and even all the treatments that we have done until this moment, particularly in aberration, are kind of over the top, so you can kind of see too much going on. So you should, we should go a bit lower, and maybe the saturation in the foreground is still a little bit too much, so maybe we are going to desaturate these fields a little bit more. But yeah, you are going to spend some time tweaking these values. And now let's do something in the matte box, and let's enable the matte box. And I'm going to do some, let's say, because we are in an exterior situation. Let's say that in this sequence, in the live action shots, the camera had a top flag. So I'm going to increase, or actually, you know what, it's not going to work because we are using bladed and not image. So remember that the matte box works with image. So let's do that. Let's bring these bokeh shapes here. Why not? Even they look too different. What about I'm just thinking out loud here, but what about doing something very quick and dirty with maybe doing something more on the green side, something like that. And maybe we can squeeze this a little bit in X. So yeah, I guess something like that, just to make it different. And now let's go to the, or actually, because I am applying the three-dimensional bokeh to this shot, you know what, I'm going to just desaturate these guys, so they don't interfere with the aberration that I have set up. And now I want to go to the foreground background field and enable image. So let's see what that does to the size of the bokehs, and if we need to tweak something else. The computation is a little bit more intensive now, so maybe in the background I want to see those bokehs and those ones being a bit bigger. And again, remember that everything I'm doing is over the top. What you're gonna do is work a lot more subtle. And so look at that, like that looks nice. So let's do a let's put a top flag to our lens. So let's use a value of 100 for both fields. So now we are going to see a cutting at the bottom of the bokeh, and there it is. So now we have added matte box to our lens. I want to compare, see how it looks with and without. Yeah, that's cool. So now because I'm adding a flag on the top, I also need to lower the intensity on the top of the frame a little bit. So let's wait for this to calculate. And one of the reasons why you can enable and disable features in this node is maybe you want to set up one of these tabs, and then you want to disable it while you set up the other one, and then you want to hit render. So let's lower the intensity on the top of the frame. Sorry, the top of the frame is in here, so it will be something like that. And that's it. That's our matte box setup. Now let's renoise all the noise that we have lost in these treatments. So you can see that we need to recover some render engine noise. Again, don't worry about the quality of the C depth in here. This image, including the C depth, doesn't have any, it's not very high quality. So let's now let's do this by diter, and I want to have color diter, and let's go high in value so we can see. And let's now open the gap on the places where the noise hasn't been affected by these treatments. So it looks like this gap is roughly going like from here to here, more or less. And we can now open the focus field mask width until we are filling those areas. Here we have the some feathering if we want. Same in here. So let's say that's the area where we want to renoise, and let's now go lower in value, and let's begin to increase the value until we are in a similar noise level of the original. So I think that's pretty good. Let's check in these clouds. That's nice. Let's see some other elements like this fly saucer. So yeah, I think that's pretty decent. So we have now recovered some render engine noise. We're not gonna be doing anything with the astigmatism matte and the motion vectors matte. It doesn't apply to this particular shot, but I do want to add some lens distortion because I have some available overscan. So here I have my lens distortion STMAP creation tool. Let's enable STMAP, and I'm going to bring in a lens distortion node, and let's put this into input and this into ready stored, and let's look at the output, and let's begin to add some distortion here, see how it goes. So I actually have quite a lot of overscan. I can do some extreme distortion here. Actually, maybe that's a little bit too much. And yeah, So that's our lens distortion. We don't need any motion blur to be applied in here. This is a single frame, but I think this is looking good. Our renoise is behaving pretty well, and we don't need to use motion vectors or anything like it. I just think it might be cool to just throw a transform in here. So let's say I have the freedom to squeeze this image vertically a little bit, and I have some room in here because actually you can see the horizon in there, so there is like an image of a city, but I want to squeeze this. I know this doesn't have any logic, but I just like how it looks. So this is our treatment of Z-Opticals before and after, and at the end of this you can do your usual regrain. So let's add some grain in here. Let's leave it by default. Sound, let's use some codec stock, and that's it. That's your regrained comp, and that's it, guys. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you can this has been inspiring, and that you can use some of these ideas in your own projects and comps. Take care, and until the next video.